that absolutely nothing that I'm going to tell you is exaggerated, is interpolated, or is imagined. Everything I'm going to tell you is documented. He who controls food controls the world. Well, they said in 1962, we're going to work toward total global implementation of Codex Alimentarius on December 31st, 2009. They were sort of guidelines. Now, Codex Alimentarius Commission is administered by the World Health Organization, WHO, and the FAO, the Food and Agriculture Organization. They fund Codex and they run it at the request of the UN. So they're mommy and daddy to Codex Alimentarius. In 1994, Codex, with no notice here in this country whatsoever, declared nutrients, put on your intellectual seatbelts, declared nutrients to be toxins. They're poisons. Under Codex, every dairy cow on the planet must be treated with Monsanto's recombinant bovine growth hormone. Furthermore, under Codex, every animal used for food on the planet must be treated with subclinical antibiotics and must be treated with exogenous growth hormones. If you do the numbers in the WHO-FAO projections, the epidemiological projections, they estimate, not I, that just the vitamin and mineral guideline alone, when it goes into global implementation on December 31st, 2009, will result in a minimum of 3 billion, that's B, bad, big, billion deaths. 1 billion through simple starvation. Those folks who die are not particularly economically successful from the point of view of the corporations, but the next 2 billion. They will die from the preventable diseases of undernutrition. Who will live? Probably those people who are wealthy enough and powerful enough to have their own pushers of clean food and nutrients. So we need your help, because the United States leadership is what's going to literally save the population of the planet.
High school principal Frank Lay didn't think he was doing anything wrong when he asked his athletic director to say a prayer at a school luncheon to say thanks to everybody who helped them build a new field house. Well, now those two men face criminal charges and possible jail time for allegedly violating a court order banning prayer in Santa Rosa County, Florida schools. Principal Frank Lay, athletic director Robert Freeman, joining us along with their attorney Harry Miette of the Liberty Counsel. Guys, thank you very much for joining us live.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us, Steve.
All right. Now, Frank, as I understand, as principal, you had been told 9 days earlier that in a settlement with the ACLU, they didn't want any religion brought up in any way. You understood that you couldn't do that. But 9 days later, you were at this lunch, and what did you ask your athletic director to do? I kind of detailed it right there.
Yes, I asked him to bless the food.
As simple as that. Something that we do at our house. People do it at their houses around the world. Robert, when he said bless the food, what did you do?
Well, I said a simple blessing over the food, as we normally do, as Americans do throughout this nation, and Congress and legislative bodies do. My friend of over 40 years asked me to bless the food, and I did.
Yeah. Now, Frank,
with no intent.
Okay, no intent, but 9 days earlier, the school system had come to an agreement with the ACLU, Frank, that you couldn't talk about religion in school. Why did you ask him to bless the food anyway?
Well, there's no intent involved. I simply, a traditional thing, things that I had done for 39 years in the profession of education. Prior to that, I've been a principal for 20 years, and we would, you know, it was just standard operating procedure, if you will, and, you know, a traditional thing. Most of the people in that, at that luncheon would have expected the food to be blessed.
Okay. Absolutely. Well, here is what the ACLU has said, that parents, not the public school, should be responsible for deciding whether their children receive religious education. Religious freedom is eroded when the government endorses any particular religious viewpoint. That from Benjamin Stevenson of the ACLU. Okay, now, Harry, your two clients are in trouble, could face up to 6 months in jail because this is a criminal complaint. We just heard from the ACLU in their statement talking about the students. There were no students there, were there?
No, there were not the students there. This was an appreciation luncheon for adult community members that had supported the construction of this new field house. And Steve, it really is a sad day in the life of our country when two outstanding citizens that have spent their entire lives serving their community are brought up on criminal charges and treated like common criminals for the fact that a simple prayer was said to bless a meal. And yet, it's just another unfortunate example of how radical the ACLU has become in its quest to purge all kinds of religious expression from the public square. Okay. This is not about students. There were no students there.
Sure. Okay. Now, Frank, as a principal, if you're walking through the hall one day and one of your students sneezes, what would happen to you if you said, "God bless you," to the kid who just sneezed?
Well, currently under the consent decree, I would possibly be chastised for that.
Man. All right, well, we're going to be watching this case because a lot of people are interested in it. Frank and Robert and Harry, we thank you all for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having us with you, Steve.
You betcha. All right.